Things that are done to numbers are called operations. 4 important operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. A collection of numbers, operation signs, and inclusion symbols is called an expression. We'll talk more about inclusion symbols in the next lesson. But here are 4 examples of our operations. Finding the number for which an expression stands is called simplifying or evaluating an expression, and here are our 4 examples. They're simplified, or you could say they're evaluated, and when they're written with the equal sign as shown here, we've now written 4 equations. 15 plus 3 is equal to 18, 15 take away 3 is equal to 12, 15 times 3 is equal to 45, and 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5. There are other ways to represent multiplication. All 5 of these expressions mean 15 times 3. We don't use the x very often because as we start using variables, the x as a time sign is often confused with the letter x as a variable. We'll often use the dot as shown in line 2. There are also other ways to represent division. All 3 of these expressions mean 15 divided by 3. When more than one operation appears in a numerical expression, multiplications and divisions are completed before additions and subtractions. So in this expression, the 3 times 5 goes first because that's multiplication and we get 15. And then the addition is done and 2 plus 15 is 17. This is a similar expression written in a slightly different order, but it still involves 3 times 5 and then an addition. So we do the multiplication first, we get 15, we add 2, and we get 17. In this example, it's addition and subtraction. The rule here is, when there's addition and subtraction in an expression, you go left to right. One does not always come before the other. So since in this case the addition is written first, we do the 5 plus 3 first, we get the 8. 8 take away 2 is 6. Now the subtraction comes first, so it goes first. 5 take away 3 is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So a couple of changes in the order, and it's completely different than the previous expression. Here's multiplication and division, and one of those does not always come before the other. Once again, we go left to right. So in this case, the multiplication goes first to get 18, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. Now, the division comes first, so we do 6 divided by 3 to get 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Here's a little bit longer expression, and it has an addition, a subtraction, a multiplication, and division. So we look at the multiplications and divisions. We do them in order from left to right, so the 2 times 8 goes first. The 16 divided by 4 goes second, and now the addition and subtractions go in order from left to right, and we end up with 12 take away 3 is 9. And in this expression we have 2 additions, 2 multiplications, a division, and a subtraction. So we look at the divisions and the multiplications and we do them from left to right. So the 12 divided by 4 goes first, the 3 times 2 goes second, and the 8 times 7 goes 56. And now we do the additions and subtractions from left to right, and our final answer, when fully simplified, is 61. In this particular expression, the division and the 2 multiplications are separated by additions and subtractions, so they can be done independently of one another, and so to save time, we'll do them all on the same line as shown here. We have the 12 divided by 4 to get 3, the 3 times 2 to get 6, and the 8 times 7 to get 56, and then we'll finish the additions and subtractions from left to right, but the simplified answer is still 61. Well, we hope you can do expressions like this with a pencil and paper, but once in a while we all tend to reach for a calculator, and if you do, you should know your calculator. My calculator is called a scientific calculator. It's also a graphing calculator, and it understands order of operations. So if I type in this expression, it will not show its work the way I have, but it does know that the 3 times 5 goes first, and then the 15 plus 2 is 17. But this calculator that I found is called a 4-function calculator. It's usually less expensive, it has fewer keys, and you have to test it out, but it goes left to right. So it will not give you the correct answer. It will do 2 plus 3 first, get 5, and then 5 times 5, and it will get 25, as shown here in this key sequence. It will also not print the entire expression the way our graphing calculator did. It'll show the 2, and then when you type plus 3, as shown in the upper right, it'll just show the 3, and then when you hit times 5, it'll just show the 5, and then when you hit the equals key, it does get 25, which is not the correct answer. These two calculators are commonly used scientific calculators. They work fine. But here's 3 calculators that are unlikely to be scientific calculators. Occasionally one like this will perform order of operations correctly, but usually not. But you should always test your calculator first. If you're one of those that always seems to be borrowing a different calculator every time you need one, my best advice to you is to get a calculator that's a scientific calculator. Hang on to it, use it each time so that you know your calculator.